Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris Man, and as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. At this time, I'm not quite sure what I want to entitle this, but it's basically a overview of the BKE Thang drum machine sampler. Now, today was a day where everything was just out of sync. You have days where you have good days. Everything works. Everything's in place. Today was just the opposite for me. Nothing panned out. Nothing went right. So I ordered this thing. First, I seen it on Guitar Center for $4.99. I said, let me grab this. I was getting ready to grab it. 2 minutes into setting up the payment plan, pulling out my credit card, somebody bought it. So then I went to eBay. And I went through this whole nonsense cycle with this guy that was just lying. They holding my money and I haven't been able to ship it. I'm like, you don't have $50? And then you get reimbursed plus you get the $600 for the item? So you let $50 ruin a $600 deal? You're not too bright, man, And it was a lie he was telling me anyway. It made no sense. So I found another one on Guitar Center. I'm like, okay, let me grab this one because the last time I got caught looking. So I purchased it, and before I purchased it, I said, let me call them and make sure that I'm going to get a power cord. I shouldn't have to do this because I'm like, all musical gear has power cords, and if you don't have one in the box, you need to put one in the box. So I called the store that they were selling at, physical, the way it was. Nobody answered the phone. 10 minutes later, I called. Nobody answered the phone. So then I called customer service, the 800 number. Nobody answered the phone. I'm like, I'm just going to take a risk. Worst case scenario, they're just going to send me out a cord. So it gets here today, no cord. Now I'm saying to myself, if I worked in any kind of company and I'm boxing, packing up stuff, and I'm selling music gear, I'm like, well, I know everything that's made has power cords. So if I don't see one, I got to start questioning people. Where's the power cord? Because I want to ship this out like I'm shipping it to myself. Am I going to include everything that I'm supposed to? Absolutely. Am I going to question if I don't see anything that's supposed to be in there? I should. And still, I'm just wrapping this up. There ain't no cord. It's still talk to your supervisor. Well, Mr. Johnson, there's no cord in this box. And I'm sure, the guy paid for a cord unless it was noted, which it wasn't. So I called them, had to chew them out about that, and they're going to send me one. But I went on to pay for one and on Amazon, which would get here much quicker than them. This might take 2 weeks to get this cord. So it came today. I was very disappointed. There's a lot of things wrong with this. And I am no designer, but I use stuff. And I'm like, the people that make this stuff do a good job at making it. And it's like, just follow what they do. Not to the point where you're going to get sued for patent issues, but well, this is here on there, so I'm going to put mass here and there, I'm not breaking any, copyright issues or anything of that nature. So this thing came, and I'm going to give you my quick overview. First thing that I noticed, it's too damn heavy. This thing is heavy as hell. Why is this so heavy? And why is it so little? Because most of us, when we started initially kind of creating beats, kicking things around, we put our drum machine on our lap. And I put this thing on my lap. It's teeter-tottering because it's so heavy. It should have been long if it was going to be that heavy. But I don't understand why it's so heavy. Then here's some other issues with this. And I don't know what they were thinking when they did this because I've only seen this once in my life. And it's ridiculous. Just about all of the electronic stuff, the radios, keyboards, electronic keyboards, sound modules, drum machines, all of them got power cords. No, I'm sorry. All of them have volume switches, knobs. You just turn it, and then the volume goes up, volume goes down. This thing doesn't have a volume switch. It's like, really? You got to go inside the machine, find it, and then turn it up. That makes no sense. Why fix something that's not broke? And now you done broke something that was fixed. And then on the back, they have 2 headphone sets. Why do you need 2 headphone sets on the drum machine? You gonna have your partner sit next to you and y'all both banging out beats. No, don't put that snare. It's not necessary, but yet you omit something that's necessary. A volume switch, because on one of my keyboards, computers, and this one apparently is designed for a left-hander because on all other PCs, all of your stuff is on the right-hand side. Your plug-in for your mouse, your sound card, whatever. This particular PC, everything's on the left. And it doesn't have a volume switch. You got to go into the thing and turn it up. And sometimes it won't even work that way. I got to go into the main system and go to the main adjust volume to get it up. I'm like, why did y'all omit the button or the dial? You'd have made it more difficult for your buyer, for the consumer. And that wasn't necessary, And this thing is metal. And this thing is not that old. These came out in 2011. And some of the commands that are on a drum machine are corroded away. You can't even read the dial. I don't know who thought that this was a good idea to put, the text on the metal. Because you touch it right here. And this is why these are gone, because you put your hands right here. All that sweat and the oils from your hand, it done took off the labels. See right here. Oops. Okay, yeah. See that? You can't even read that. Now I got drum machines that are like 30 years old. Now they put their text on the metal, but apparently they use some type of paint that doesn't rub off. And this thing is 3 times older than that thing. And none of this is rubbed off. None of it. And this is metal too. Then one of the biggest disappointments, because this thing was $1,500 when it came out in July 17, 2011, to be exact, the release date. Now I just about to lose my train of thought. Yeah, it came out in 2011, and all that stuff is fading away. And the pads on this got to be the worst fielding pads on a drum machine I've ever felt. And I'm like, if I'm going to pay $1,500, this should feel good. This is plastic, hollow plastic. The BKE 2000 XL and all of those, well, they're rubber, and they're solid rubber, and it feels good to play. Even this drum machine, which cost only a couple of $100 when it was brand new. The pads on these feel great. They're rubber also, and they're solid. But the big thing decided to take a cheap route. Like you would take a cheap route on the thing that's on this device that you use the most, the pads. You constantly creating beats, so you're constantly touching these. There are other functions on here you probably don't have to touch, but you're always going to be touching your pads. So you would think they would say, well, let's make this real comfortable. And I think they were the first ones that came up with this retarded pads, these old square-shaped pad things, so baseball plate, home plate pad things. Now, the BK or B thing, they came out. The first time I heard of them, they in conjunction with Zoom drum machines called the Zoom Street Box SB-246. They were responsible for the sounds and the beats on this thing. This thing was incredible. They did a great job. If you ever see one of these, grab them. I call them the baby BKE MP60s because the samples in here are so strong. They just in your face, boom, hard kicking snares and kick and pads. I got 3 of these things, and whenever I see others, I just buy them because I'm like, I'm stockpiling this because this thing sounds great to be so small. And then also, the B thing raves that they got 4,000 sounds in here. And this is how I look at it. You can have 10 million sounds in here, and if I can only use 500, the rest of them are useless. So why give them to me? And out of the 4,000 sounds, it's probably 100 that I can use because they got different kits already set up. I'm like, cool. That's one of the selling points. But as I go through the kits, they all sound the same. The snare in this kit sound like the snare in this kit. The kick in this kit sound like the kick in this kit, which sounds like the kicks in the other kit. So I'm like, all you did was take the drum sounds from the Akai XR20, because they also did the sounds in that thing, and put them in here. And it's like, I've already paid for these types of sounds, so now you're going to repackage it, charge me $1,500, and give me all these sounds, which I already got. And the new sounds sound similar to the old sounds. So it's like, there was no variety in this at all. You know, I would like to think that somebody's smart enough out there to say, you know what, what I'm going to do is give you an array of sound kits, you know, because I'm sure you don't just want to do rap and trap and hip hop. You might want to do some R&B. You might want to do a little disco, might want to do a little pop. So I'm going to give you some of those sounds that are prevalent in those types of sounds. The genre of music is still they all the same. I'm going to give you 4,000 of all the same, you know, if not all the same, very close to the same, you know, and that's what it is, very close, you know. So this thing fell miserably. You know, it's going back tomorrow, because what I know is, because first I was going to try to keep it, because this is the reason why I had bought this in the first place. I got a bunch of already sounds that I want to create my personal drum sounds kits with. So the selling point of this was I could take sound cards and load them in here and upload my sounds. I'm like, cool, because all this stuff in here is just the same. It's the same snare, same kick, same noise. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I didn't even get to that point because of this, and this is the reason why I'm sending it back. I turned it on because I told you I get no power cord, but the battery's charged up, and I think this battery can run 6 hours before being charged again. So I decided I was going to keep it for that reason. I was like, okay, I want to load my sounds. I didn't even get there because 10 minutes into this thing working or on, my cat out there. 2 o'clock in the morning. My cat doesn't know when to be quiet. But the sounds in here, you know, see, now I'm about to lose my train of thought. But I'm not going to redo this video. I've already done it twice. But now I forgot what I was about to say. But these pads are awful. Yeah, they're awful. Oh, yeah. I'm sending it back because 10 minutes into this being on, all of a sudden the screen goes white. Like, what the hell is this? So I shut it down, 15 minutes, turn it back on, 10 minutes into it, screen goes light again. Now, you would think Guitar Center would have checked their product. One thing I can say about Merry-Go-Round, big props, they test their stuff. They're not going to be sending you something that they didn't test. They forgot to put the power cord in. The machine ain't working properly, but nobody decided to take 15 minutes out of their day just to test it thoroughly. You know, Guitar Center is notorious for that. You know, no power cord, something's wrong with it, nobody tested it. Today has been a very frustrating day. And I'm not ranting just to be ranting as far as, Doug Morris, man, you asked for too much. That'd be totally different. I'm just asking for what I paid for. That's it. That's all I want. Nothing extra, nothing special. I paid for something that's supposed to be working, and I'm expecting something to show up that's working. Instead of no power cord, screen going white. One of the poorly designed drum machines ever. I mean, this thing felt like a brick, little brick. Like I said, it should have been wider. And that way there'd be better balance when you trying to tap on this thing, and then you got it on your lap, and when you tapping in the beats, you know, your drum machine just wobbling up and side, up, down. And then one more thing I want to mention before I shut this video off and box this hideous thing back up for return. On the side, there's a pitch button. And I seen the video where the guy, part owner of the company, he said the purpose of the pitch wheel is you can pitch things down in real time. And my question is, why would you need to do that? They throw in too much stuff that's not necessary and went real poor and skimpy on the stuff that's necessary. Do we need a volume button? Yes, we do. You know, we need a volume button. It's garbage. Don't waste your money on that. even if somebody gave it to you, you probably wouldn't want it because this and the Akai XR20, which they were partially responsible for the building of that or the design, it's ridiculous. You know, you just don't need this. There's just some things in here that was not necessary. And the things, again, that were necessary, they just kind of went blind on us. But if somebody gave me this, I'll probably give it back because it's so unfriendly. I mean, my Alesis, all of my Alesis drum machines, the HR16, A and B, this one, the 918, real easy to operate. The functions make sense. They didn't create another language, a language that only they know, you know? I love that thing. You know, and the sounds on that thing is just incredible. But they're more or less for traditional, like, actually you can do a pretty good jazz composition with this drum machine. A real standard pop thing, you know, if that's what they're designed for. They got a little hip hop in there, but it's like, no, we over here, we're not fully entrenched in this, you know. But I'm going to sign off now. But I was not happy today. You know, today was a very frustrating day. And this is one of the reasons why I was frustrated. This garbage here. Don't buy this crap. You know, don't spend $500, $600, $700 on this crap because it's not worth it. $1,500 when it first came out in 2011. That's ridiculous. That's just absolutely ridiculous. And the design is ugly. It's too heavy. It looks like a toy. Yeah, and the front grille looks like a truck, a little tiny sports souped up truck thing, and then the lights going on, and this totally black display, and still of something silverish, or something that you can really read. Something that you can really read. But I'm going to sign off now. Till next time, take care.